If you thought last week's episode was heavy on Alice's trauma and mommy issues, well, brace yourselves as episode 5 takes both of those to a whole other level. Now, I had a feeling we were in for a wild and emotionally intense ride the moment they showed a flashback from WandaVision, with Agatha's first coven being led by her mother, Evanora Harkness, trying to burn her at the stake. This episode was absolutely loaded with mind-blowing twists and big reveals about Agatha Harkness, teen, and of course the MCU's new supervillain coven. Over the last 5 episodes, Agatha and her coven have faced 3 trials on the Witch's Road, which unraveled some shocking truths about their pasts, including the tragic death of Sharon Davis. In episode 4, we saw that the Green Witch Rio Vidal pretty much rose from the ground to replace Sharon Davis and dropped a bombshell on Agatha that teen is not actually related to her. Since the beginning of episode 5, Agatha Harkness simply seems to brush off Rio's big reveal and chooses to focus on the next trial on the Witch's Road instead. With the first trial meant for Jennifer Kale and the second for Alice Wu Gulliver, the third trial is now set to challenge another member of the coven. The difficulty of these trials keeps escalating, and it's clear that no one in the group is safe. But this one came with a bunch of eye-openers. So without wasting another moment, let's discuss the ending of Darkest Hour and Wake Thy Power. Now, before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means an awful lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The origin of the Salem 7 gets a major revamp for their MCU adaptation. You can run, but you can't hide from the Salem 7. Even if you hide yourself in an enclosed parallel dimension of the Witch's Road, they are back and with more vengeance than ever, creeping through the dark forest in their animal forms while whispering Agatha's name in the most unsettling way. While the Coven is fast asleep, Lilia suddenly wakes up in a panic, telling the group that they have to leave now. As it turns out, they left the door open after that summoning spell to recruit a 7th witch, and the Salem 7 took this opportunity to slip in right behind him. The group then asks Lilia what she sees, with Rio pushing her to spill the details as she just loves to steer things up. To much our shock, Lilia explains that when Agatha killed her first coven by absorbing all their powers, she spared the young children of her sister witches. And now that those kids have grown up, they have made their life's sole mission to become feral, hive-minded revenge seekers on Agatha. Well, you may point out Agatha's soft side here. The witch disagrees because she has learned her lesson. Finish what you start, as mercy is totally overrated. Naturally, the coven gets into a spat and Jen still thinks Agatha is the worst for killing her coven, but Rio backs her up, saying that her own mom tried to have her executed, but the coven has no time to keep arguing, with the Salem 7 closing in fast. So, Teen suggests that they make a quick getaway on brooms, which he calls Hags and Bezin. Of course, the group isn't too thrilled with the idea, as brooms have been hijacked by the Holiday Industrial Complex and turned into symbols of female domesticity. Plus, not to mention that they're kind of very overdone and basic. In other words, flying brooms have been ridiculed by pop culture for decades in the MCU as well. But with no other options left, the witches rip off tree branches from the ground and perform a short ritual to transform them, well, into flying brooms. Everyone, including Teen, grabs a broom, and in true witchy fashion, they swap them ritualistically because it's either flying together or not at all. As one of the Salem 7 closes in and tackles Teen down, the Coven manages to free him and take off just in time. We then see this gorgeous shot of them flying against the flowing moon while having the time of their lives, laughing and feeling free. Agatha looks like she's finally at peace, but she can't stop glancing over at Rio. Meanwhile, Teen is wondering why they haven't been doing this the whole time, because as overrated as it is, flying is awesome. But they get their answer pretty quickly as they start falling, with the road pulling them back down. Everyone panics except Rio, who is just cackling like a total maniac. Truly iconic. When pushed down to stay on the road's path, one of the Salem 7 tries to stop them by spewing a swarm of bees from her mouth, but they push through anyway to make their way to the third trial of the Witch's Road. The main purpose of the third trial somehow seemed to be turning Agatha's whole coven against her. So the first two trials on the Witch's Road were based on elements. The first was water-themed and was created to test Jennifer Kale's potion brewing skills, while the second was fire-themed and challenged Alice Wu Gulliver to break her family's generational curse. In episode 5 of Agatha All Along, the third trial takes a very different turn by directly challenging Agatha Harkness as her relentless drive to regain power starts to push her own coven against her. Once the coven manages to get inside the cabin, they see that this time their trial is decked out in an amazing 80s slumber party theme. Although Jen is still panicking about the whole Halloween aisle being outside, Agatha tries to stay positive and points out that it seems like they can't get in. Meanwhile, Teen is freaking out because he can't find his spellbook, but Agatha tells him that it was time for him to take off the training wheels. From the blood moon decor on the wall, which represents the time when the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest, Rio is the first one to immediately recognize that it was Agatha's trial. But Teen asks the question we were all thinking of. Shouldn't this be Lilia's trial instead? Lilia explains that she can read time and people, but talking to the dead is just a trick. Rio keeps teasing Agatha, pointing out that she's the perfect fit for this trial, especially since she has sent so many to their graves. Remember how Alice said the trials aren't subtle in the last episode? Well, it is about to get very real. Next, we know a Ouija board suddenly crashes to the floor, so Teen picks it up and starts reading the rules. No using it alone, no talking over each other, no taunting the spirits, no asking about death. Always end the session with goodbye, and definitely don't take your hand off the board, because if you do, a spirit will be unleashed. Even though she tries to act all nonchalant, Agatha isn't too thrilled to discover who is waiting for her on the other end. Right after all of them place their hands on the Ouija board, the spirit of Mrs. Hart starts communicating with them through Agatha's body. In reality, it is all a hoax as Agatha pretends that Sharon has taken over her, and it becomes one of the funniest moments ever, with Catherine Hahn perfectly mimicking Rupp's meek speech patterns in an exaggerated way. Rio finds it amusing at first, but quickly calls Agatha out, saying she is just as scared as everyone else in the room. After that comedic gem, Han switches gears, leaning back at the board and genuinely trying to contact the spirit this time. The board then reveals that Death has decided to join the party and it wants to punish Agatha. As the board moves faster, repeatedly spelling out Agatha's name, she starts to panic, and when she pulls her hands off the board, all hell breaks loose as the lights flicker and the room fills with the sound of violent screams. Jen then thinks that the only way to pass the trial is to kill Agatha, and soon Lilia and Alice also get on board with that idea. Rio even suggests they just slit her throat, while Teen is the only one against the plan. But too bad familiars don't get a say. Suddenly, Agatha vanishes and the lights go out completely. When they come back on, they see Agatha crawling along the ceiling, looking utterly lifeless. What a perfect nod to The Exorcist, I swear to God. Anyways, it becomes clear that she was possessed. Jen initially thinks Agatha is faking it, but that theory goes out the window when horrifying sounds starts coming from her mouth, and her body twists in unnatural ways. Agatha then freaks out Teen and tries to strangle Jen before Lilia manages to turn the lights back on. Following this, the not-so-friendly ghost of Evanora Harkness makes an appearance, and it is clear Rio isn't a fan, as she really hates ghosts, especially this one. Agatha, after returning back to her normal self, chats with her mom, joking that it was nice having Evanora in her body, since she has never felt so close to her before. Evanora tells the coven that they are fools for siding with Agatha, especially after her coven went to such great lengths to kill her. Lilia points out that ghosts are only tied to this plane because of unfinished business, and Evanora's unresolved issues were all about Agatha. The ghost then warns them that the coven needed to complete the Witch's Road without Agatha. Ironically, Rio instantly goes into protective mode, refusing to hand Agatha over to Evanora, which is really funny, given how just a moment ago she was ready to slit Agatha's throat. When Agatha asks Evanora why she still hates her, Evanora coldly replies that Agatha was evil from the moment she was born, and she made a mistake by not killing her the moment she left her womb. While the coven seems to feel a bit of sympathy for Agatha after that, it was not enough to actually help her. Agatha then begs them not to leave her behind, pleading that she can be good, and just then, Evanora possesses her again.
Who are you? And
Agatha All Along Episode 5 makes for one of the best cliffhanger endings in the show so far. What exactly Evanora Harkness intended to do with Agatha remains unclear because even if Jen and Lilia had forsaken her, Alice stepped in to save her. As she casts a spell on both Agatha and Evanora, it causes Evanora to disappear, but tragically, this action comes at a great cost for Alice. As Alice blasts Agatha with her magic, successfully expelling Evanora and saving her, Agatha starts to siphon Alice's power like she always does. Even if the others beg her to stop, she does not, and this is when Lilia has another premonition where she blurts out Knights of Wands. Shockingly enough, this tarot mention basically signifies a period of excitement, change, and forward movement. It encourages one to unleash their inner fire, take calculated risks, and channel their energy into projects or ventures that align with their passion. Anyways, while the others try to free Alice, Teen notices that a Ouija board is spelling out the name Nicholas Scratch. Suddenly, a little boy's voice calls out, pleading Agatha to stop, and she does, but not before Alice's life force fades away. Although Teen fails to save Alice, he starts to piece together what Agatha's son means to her. Nicholas Scratch's attempt to communicate with Agatha through the Ouija board puts to rest the theory that he was Teen's secret identity, which was first confirmed through Rio Vidal's confession to Agatha at the end of episode 4. As of now, nothing else about Nicholas Scratch's fate has been confirmed, but it seems he died some time ago, likely after becoming a victim of Agatha in her relentless quest for more power. As the final alarm of the trial echoes, the staircase descends, but this time, no one is in a hurry to leave. When Teen panics over Alice's body, begging for someone to do something, they all gently tell him it is too late. Furious about it, Teen then lashes out at Agatha, reminding her that Alice was trying to protect her, even though she clearly didn't deserve it. Agatha is filled with shame and then walks away. But when she realizes she now has Alice's powers, we see a flicker of intoxication cross her face. Her moment of solitude is again interrupted as Teen storms out after her, giving her quite an earful. When Agatha insists she could not control it, Teen doesn't believe her and accuses her of wanting power above all else. Following this, Jen steps in right behind him, angrily backing Teen up, confirming that this is what it is all about for any of them, and Lilia chimes in, reminding them all that death comes for everyone. This is when Teen asserts that being a witch isn't about killing people for their personal agenda, at least not for him. In that moment, the atmosphere shifts dramatically, hinting at a change that could alter the dynamics of the coven forever. Agatha laughs in his face, and they lock eyes in a chilling stare. She gets closer to him and whispers in his ear after placing a hand on his chin, and with a wicked smirk, she adds how Teen was so much like his mom, before gesturing for him to follow her. Teen's anger then starts to boil over with blue magic crackling in his palms. He then commands Lilia and Jen to push Agatha off the road and into the sinking mud that devoured Sharon's purse. As she begs for help, we see both Lilia and Jennifer have bright blue eyes, which is the same shade as the energy spell crackling in Teen's hands. When he waves his hands, Lilia and Jennifer are thrown into the same goo, and their eyes return to normal as they struggle to escape. Suddenly, a striking blue crown appears on Teen's head, which looks a lot like Wanda Maximoff's red Scarlet Witch crown, and I guess that it is all the hint we need to answer the question we've all been asking since the moment Teen showed up, because Wiccan, also known as Billy Maximoff, has finally arrived. As someone eager for more of Agatha's backstory, this episode really delivered. I appreciated how it didn't shy away from the complexity of Evanora, while showcasing Rio as the soft, protective member of the coven. However, I'm disappointed to see Alice gone. She brought heart to the series, but didn't get enough moments to shine, especially after her trial last episode. The short runtimes are definitely a drawback, and Alice deserved a better send-off. I mean, they did not even get to bury her. Han as Agatha really keeps impressing me every week, with her ability to convey a wide range of emotions, all the while switching between them at lightning speed. I'm also thrilled to see a different side of Locke in the final moments of this episode, and I can't wait to see where the new shift in his character goes next. While it has been exhilarating to watch Teen as a devoted fanboy, I have a strong feeling that his confrontation with Agatha as a Wiccan will be even more captivating. So far, this episode is my favorite one. So what about you guys? What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment box below. And as always, stay tuned for more marvelous videos, keep on rocking, and stay awesome.